Come in, close the door. It's good to see you. It's a board breaker breakdown starring yours truly. Welcome back. It's good to see you.
So you're definitely probably feeling like this format is about to be really wacky. There's a lot of decks to really take care of and look at, but we got you covered. Welcome back. I think in starting off with the video, I just want to get straight to it on what are the actual best board breakers, and then we'll go down from there and kind of fall down in descending order, so to speak. I think talents and thrust obviously are the first two that we have to talk about. Until they do something with them, I actually think talents is kind of on the doorstep of getting banned. It's a really ridiculous card that always decides the game. So that means it probably won't be around much longer, but just in case it is, it's not the best board breaker, but it definitely is really strong going first and wins the game every single time. And then even playing into a board is really strong. And then thrust obviously can help to grab many of these cards that I'm about to talk about. I think an absolutely ridiculous board breaker this time is Droplet. Droplet simply because you need to blank out your opponent's board as much as you can, turn their board off as fast as you can, and get to the point. I also feel like a card like Dark Ruler No More also would fall into that same category, obviously, because being able to, let's say, handle a yummy board at once and then set up what you want to do, and then Yummy is never really going to blow you away with what they're going to do. I really feel like you probably want Droplet and Dark Ruler just to start off this format, but let's move on. We all know about EX, but just in case you don't remember or been under a rock or something, its ability to send something from the extra before you even really get going obviously means it's also in the board breaker category and also really strong. But hopefully you're playing Ryzeal if you're trying to play a card like that, then don't be a crackhead. Pankratops is the new kid on the block. Obviously, being able to handle a card like Arclight before they can even set up to defend you or at least trade off with something definitely leaves a lot to be desired for the Yummy player to be able to stop a card like that. They will have to commit some cards to stopping it, and they probably can, but even then, the trade-off is more than worth it. So look up on Pankratops. The last of the top tier board breakers is Book of Eclipse. As always, I think unless you're playing against like Malice or something, you're gonna want to always see Eclipse. It's really good. It's a spell that also is a trap card that can play into a board or set up when you're going first to be able to screw them in the middle of their turn and handle everything at once. I think this format is really going to be really key to not activate cards like the K9 cards, as well as also handle everything that they have going. And a card like Book of Eclipse pretty much covers all of the matchups, or at least forces out what you need it to. I'm just saying it's pretty good right now. Starting off on the next rung down, if we were using a ladder, I guess, I feel like Harpy's Feather Duster is really strong. However, it's just not always going to be amazing, and then sometimes it's just not going to do enough, especially if they're playing a deck where they've already went off and they're already going to have resources even if you land a Feather Duster on them. But a lot of these decks do set a lot of back row, and you can draw into Harpy's Feather Duster and ruin their day if you've done something else with the rest of your hand. I feel the same way about Red Geki, but obviously it's not quite as strong, and then clearly any of these decks with resource management, Red Geki is not going to cover enough ground to do what you need it to do. And in fact, cards like Dark Ruler and Droplet, where they cannot respond, absolutely kind of are the new board breakers, but cards like Red Geki are still very ignorant. And who would have known a young Greg would one day say that Red Geki, being at 3, isn't even the best board breaker in your deck. I think the fun options obviously revolve around cards like Lightning Storm. Lightning Storm isn't quite as good as Harpy's Feather Duster because you can't draw into it. That's just what it is. I feel like Kurikara is going to be a really fun card this format, just because most of the time they're going to trigger everything and try to respond, and then you land a Kurikara on them and kill them. I'm just saying, if your deck can afford to play a card like this and it can trade that well into what they're going to be doing to try to stop you, Kurikara is going to be a massive swipe into this format. I think Super Poly, sales ban, and I'm going to put it way out on a limb and say maybe even a card like Dark Hole. I feel like there's always going to be some evolution to a format where if you have a card like a Red Geki and a card like a Dark Hole being another copy of a Red Geki, and then also playing into a room where some jerk off is going to be trying to land a Ibley on you one day. I'm just saying, always keep your eyes on Dark Hole. No Diddy. The board breakers that start to lose steam, lose what they used to do, could still catch somebody randomly but not shock them as much as they used to. Slicer is a newer card, but I just feel like you're committing way too much to try to land that on them at the start of a phase. I don't like it like that, and they're just always going to have something, and it just won't be worth the trade-off, I guess, without losing stuff like your battle phase. And if you're going to lose something like your battle phase, a card like Dark Ruler is just going to be superior to a card like this, and also do a lot more without losing resources for yourself. I think Evenly and Slayer are also very, very incredible cards still. However, if your deck can't specifically use it to your advantage and put you way, way out in front of your opponent, I feel like these cards are going to start to lose favor simply because there's too many resources floating around too many decks. But they still will help some of the variants that you'll see, but Slayer falls down when a deck like Vanquish Soul is on the block. Shout out to the Wise Guys. Rounding out the cards that I feel like are going to lose favor, Metaltronus was really, really good. Still could be really, really good in select matchups. But for now, Metaltronus just is not worth the commitment, just like Super Poly really isn't. As for every other board breaker that is probably crossing your mind, like a Lava Golem, like a Kaiju, like Sphere Mode, Enemy Controller, I could go on and on, maybe even Shaddoll Fusion. These cards just aren't doing enough, and they've almost been power crept to a level that doesn't even make sense. I mean, a card like Forbidden Chalice, one of my favorite cards ever printed, just won't do enough fast enough, and I play Striker, so that should tell you something. Guys, let me know what you think about this format. We have a whole lot of Juhu content coming down the pipeline, and we appreciate you for tuning in. I myself personally, I'm out. Happy dueling. Arrivederci.